Olivia is, I guess, mad at me. I'm gonna cut this part off, so I can just turn this off. Yeah, we're gonna get drinking here after the wing card.
And loose lips start to fly.
Yep, that's the best part of the bench racing podcast. Not the first half hour, the second half hour.
When the buzz kicks in.
Yeah, when the buzz kicks in. So, all right, yeah. So we'll tighten the belts one last time because we're coming to green in 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome back to the Bench Racing Podcast. Wow, that was an awesome soundtrack. Thank you so much to DD Ugami for making that intro song. And yeah, I wasn't sure how to play with that. But let me know in the comments below what you think about the intro. So again, thank you, Dylan Umness. And thank you to Ashley Bree Photography for hooking us up with another lens that's tighten us in, because now we are very professional and we actually have an out of studio guest, and he's kind of far away, Johnathan Keck. So thanks for joining us. Yeah, I feel it's like driving a wing car actually. Like I'm very like out of like kind of like sequence. So thank you, Mom. I wanted to show you on Thanksgiving so bad, but I'm like, now I'll just let it be a surprise for the intro. Yeah, real quickly, though, if you've won an award from the Benchies 2 weeks ago, let me know this week if you would like your award. So far, I think I got Tyler Cuxhouse, Tom Eller, TJ Eller, Tiny Horse Racing. I'm assuming McKellips Racing want their Hauler of the Year. Awesome trailer. So let me know because this week will be the last week to let me know so that I can get them in time for the Wilmot banquet, which I believe is January 4th. So that gives me a month. So sweet. All right, awesome. Well, let's get in to our episode today, presented by Kenosha Plumbing. Check out Kenosha Plumbing on Facebook for any tips and tricks to keep your pipes from freezing this winter. And thank you so much for Kenosha Plumbing for sponsoring Crane Racing. Tonight's guest, like I said before, is Johnathan Keck. Johnathan, how are you doing? Okay, nice, awesome. So we got Ashley here saying that she cannot hear the guest. So let me turn him up a little bit. Ashley, let me know. Like I said, this is our first time doing it live because that's the best part about the live stuff. No, I was messing with this the other day. All right, how you doing, Johnathan?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, technologies from Autumn. All right, Facebook, is that better?
Is that any better, Facebook? Give us a comment.
Yeah, because it was weird. Because like, oh, he's good. Okay,
All right.
boom. Yeah, all right. Show's over. Thank you guys for tuning in. I've been Derek Rank. No, I'm kidding. That's so weird though, because like on when I did the test with Ashley the other day, that the settings worked. So maybe that's the difference between the phone and the PC. But all right, nice to know. All right, well that killed 10 minutes. All right, so okay, yeah, so we'll start all over again with Johnathan here. Johnathan is from the West Coast, so he's 2 hours behind. So we were talking about weather and daylight and stuff. So how is the weather out there?
Weather is it's dark right now. We are freezing overnight, but nothing like the Northeast is getting right now.
Yes. Do you travel to the Northeast a lot?
I go out there for work. We have I'm a controls engineer. We have some customers out there that we have to take care of occasionally. So I got back a week and a half ago. So.
Nice. Do you have anything like where you go out for like a long period of time, or is it more just like a week here, a week there type thing?
Well, fortunately, what helped roll me into the sprint car stuff, after buying my car, I ended up going out to Indiana for 8 months. So I was able to make a lot of visits to various tracks and picked up a chassis out there and bought a trailer and kind of helped jumpstart the whole thing.
Okay, nice. So any particular car that you bought from someone, or is it just kind of like you're running them? Is it a DRC?
No, it's a triple X chassis. I think it's a 12 or a 14 model there. But there was a guy that was getting out of our series here in the northwest, and he reached out. I made a post online. He reached out to our series director and was, "Hey, is this guy for real? Is he legit, or is he just toying around?" Like, no, he really wants to get into it. So, and there's a little bit of a backstory on that even, but I picked it up and started.
Now we're here.
here we are. Once I got back from Indiana, I prepped the car real quick and got ready for the first race.
Nice. And how's the off season treating you?
Off season's good so far. Just trying to prep the car in between the holidays and work trips.
Okay, so. Nice. Yeah, the car looks. I'll say it, and I know this is gonna get me in trouble, but like, I'm not the biggest fan of orange. It's like one of my least favorite colors.
Yeah, well, it's fun. It's funny too because the car was decked out in Oregon State Beaver decal on the side, and State Coug, so that was the first thing to come off.
Gotcha. Yes. Oregon Ducks are playing pretty good, or is that kind of like Michigan State versus Michigan?
No, Ducks are pretty solid this year. My wife is a Duck fan, and her whole family is a Duck fan, and they are hardcore in that. So. Cougs were looking good until a couple games ago. So,
yeah, okay. We have a comment here from my wife, Ashley. Is the garage heated?
I've got a little itty bitty heater that's about 10 inches tall. That's on me right now, so it's not completely finished yet.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, hey, you got more heat than me.
I appreciate her concern.
Yes. It's Red Slip Maximus hurts already, but then with cold knuckles, yeah. What? No orange? I want my stars back. Sorry, Autumn. Yeah, I kind of knew. Real quickly, too, thank you, Tom Brown, for the photo. I know it's got bad glare, but yeah, thank you. So Tim Cox, when he drove it, the car owner here, Tom Brown, and then when I drove it, you can see I'm driving it like a non-wing car because that's where my life's at right now. So thank you, Tom Brown, Next Gen Pumps, better known American-made warranty like no other. Check them out. All right, so let's get into like the first, main course of our episode. Yeah, I just saw a comment from Ashley, and I knew that's where I was going when I said it. I didn't like orange that much. Anti-daybreak branding, because our church colors are orange. So let's get into our main topic here. Well, not our main topic, but our first topic here. A little bit about Johnathan Keck, just as a person. So you kind of mentioned it earlier, but what do you do for work?
Yeah. So I work for a company called Statco. We manufacture pasteurizing systems for the dairy industry, specifically your shelf-stable milk and every other pasteurized milk that you pull out of the refrigerator. So, nice. Yeah. So I've been in that for 7 years now. So
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. What kind of got you into that work?
Well, my degree is in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
And during my schooling, I took some robotics and automation courses, and so that kind of led me into the controls field for automating industrial equipment. So,
okay, cool. I mean, it's a great way to pay for a sprint car too, apparently.
Well, the job security is that it's food industry and everybody's got to eat. So, I mean, it helps that I should be able to keep the job as long as they're eating.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in the food industry too, so yeah, job security. Yeah, never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
What do you do in your free time?
Free time is my wife and I like to go camping. We like to go out to the coast. Really nice thing about the Northwest is we've got everything from mountains to beaches, from lakes and rivers, and you can go east just a couple hours and you're out in the desert, and so cross over those Cascades and it's a lot different climate. So, but the Northwest is really versatile in the amount of things that you can do. So we like to be outdoorsy as much as possible.
Nice. And so when you camp, do you like camp, like backpack, or do you like glamp?
I've done a couple backpacking trips when I was at Washington State University.
Okay.
But my wife and I, we typically will do a tent camping. We haven't done any primitive camping together. But like I said, the backpacking stuff, we were 2 or 3 day backpacking trips. So
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Do you prefer one over the other, or is it just being outdoors?
Just being outdoors. There's a lot of peace and quiet, obviously, but just to be out, away from the busyness, chaos of work or cities or whatever. I live in a suburb just outside, about 10 minutes outside of the core of the Vancouver, Washington.
Okay.
And then that's another 10 minutes from Portland. So there's a lot going on at times. So it's nice to get out and away. So.
Oh, nice. What did you do for Thanksgiving, and what do you got coming up for the holidays?
We had my in-laws over. My wife's parents came over, and then a friend of ours was in town from Oklahoma. She was visiting, and so this is actually the first time we had Thanksgiving at our house with other people, which was really nice. Usually we go over to her family's, but this year was the first time we had people over, and then COVID, obviously everything was shut down, so we had our Thanksgiving together. But
Nice.
But this was really fun. Yeah.
Good. So we'll get into like your kind of more racing background and stuff like that, but you kind of moved around the States. Why did you kind of land on the West Coast?
I grew up here.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I ended up. So I grew up in Southwest Washington. When I was 20, I moved out to Florida after kind of chiming in a little bit with the Barber Dodge Pro Series when Indy was here in Portland doing the G.I. Joe's Grand Prix.
Okay.
And at that point, I was 20 years old, looking for a mechanic position. Wasn't looking to drive anything. But I moved to Florida, worked for Skid Barber Racing School, Racing Series, and did that for about a year and a half. Then jumped around a little bit, as you do in motorsports. Sometimes, you're finding better opportunities. And so I jumped to some private teams running Formula Renault and Formula BMW.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So kind of I'll jump ahead here to this one. So with that background, what brought you to sprint cars?
So as a kid growing up, I was watching a lot of NASCAR. That was kind of my thing. But as over the last decade or so, I ended up kind of getting bored with it, to be honest.
Okay.
With the exception of the guys like Kyle Larson, and so
Young money.
Yeah, young money, man. Jeez, what a talent. But I ended up just starting to look into what he does outside of NASCAR, and so started watching Chili Bowl. Started getting interested in Christopher Bell and noticing some of the other names that are running Chili Bowl at the time, and I was like, this is exciting, and it wasn't completely foreign to me. Portland Speedway, just across the river from us, they ran a World of Outlaws race in 2001, I think.
Okay.
I think it was 2000 or 2001. They ran World of Outlaws race for a couple years, and the great Sammy Swindell won the first race. It was a 50-lap feature, and it was green to checker, no cautions whatsoever. And so that was my first interest in it. But still, life goes on, and I keep doing my thing. But after watching some of the Chili Bowl and some of the big names, started just getting interested in it, and I reached out to our series when I was still in my junior year of college, and I was like, hey, how do I want to volunteer, get involved. So ended up helping out one of our current drivers, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I like this. I want to give this a shot. So I went in feet first, just dove right in.
The only way to drive a sprint car, because that's the only practice you get is your qualifying time, right? Hot laps.
Yeah. Everybody asks, how much practice do you get? And I'm like, about 3 laps.
3 laps. Yeah. And the first one doesn't even count because you're not up to speed yet. Second one, you might hit some traffic or something, and then you're just that. All right. Where do you want racing to take you?
Like I'm 42. It'd be cool to make it some sort of career, but really, I wasn't afforded the opportunities as a kid to get into motorsports, and so, I went, like I said, I went to Florida, did my mechanic stuff, and then realized that after coming home, I was like, I really should go to college, which is something that I looked at from high school. When I actually went to Skid Barber, I was offered a job with them at the same time that I was enrolling in college here locally. So I kind of had a choice between the two, and I thought to myself, college will be here later. It's not going anywhere. So
yeah, exactly.
Chase the
universe.
Dream.
Yeah.
But with the racing, with the sprint car racing, it just became an opportunity for me to do what I love and get into a sport that I have watched my whole life, whether it be road racing or oval track racing or dirt racing or drag racing. I've watched it all and I've enjoyed it all. And this is just one thing that I like about the sprint car and the dirt track stuff is that it's genuine. Like, a lot hasn't changed other than, like the cage safety over the years. And I really, really am a big supporter of grassroots racing, whether it be asphalt or dirt. Your local short track Saturday night racing is something that I've always been a big fan of.
Nice. Yeah, because we talked on the phone last week a little bit about that, which was kind of crazy because I was talking to another driver that said the same thing. Just different spot in your life when you join sprint car racing definitely changes kind of your trajectory. What advice do you have for a listener that would want to race, whether it's sprint cars or modifieds or whatever? Just get into it. What would be your advice?
It sounds cliche, but it really is true. Like, if you've got a passion for something, don't let your background or your family's background, like, chase after what you want. It's achievable even in this day and age of inflation and stuff. Like, if you want something bad enough, you're going to go after it. Mm-hmm. And there's things that I look back on in my mechanic history when I lived in Florida and before moving back, where I look back and I say, if I would have just put a little bit more into that, I could have made it. I could have continued doing what I was doing at the time. But that's hindsight, right? Hindsight's 20/20. And I'm kind of glad that the path progressed where it did with my college degree and just being able to have this opportunity. So yeah, to the listeners, it's just like, keep pushing forward with your goals. Don't let your family slow you down. Don't let other aspects of life slow you down. If you want it, go for it. Chase it. Chase the dream.
Yeah, so you can live it. Yeah, starving is fun as a race car driver. Let me tell you. No, okay. So I don't know if you've seen on the YouTube advertisement, like before a video starts. It's Honda's, and it says, "My doubts will destroy my dreams." But not today. My dreams will destroy my doubts.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's gold. They had to they had to pay someone a lot of money to write that. But like, that was really good.
I've got the saying that I hijacked from my neighbor down in the basement. He's got a cool pool table that we end up playing at. But it says, you don't stop having fun when you get old. You get old when you stop having fun. And so this is my way to keep having fun and not get old.
Yeah, I mean that's so true because we got a couple car owners up here that are pushing. They're in their 70s and they're pushing it, but they're still getting drivers to drive their cars and they're getting around. And I mean it's a really good way. It also helps with life too. I feel like my dad says like if I make a mistake, he's like, so you jumped the cushion. All right, drive it down the back chute. Like you just jumped the cushion.
Yep. Yeah, there's a NASCAR driver back in the 2000s, Morgan Shepherd. I mean, he was in his 70s, and he at one point he pitted his own car because he didn't have a crew, but he still did it because he was loving it. Mm-hmm. Hopped out of the car, pitted his car, got back on track, and like that kind of passion. You don't get old at that point. You just have fun.
Yeah, age is just a number when you're going around in laps. Like driving in laps, like, so what if there's I'll ask you, like, because you guys have a female driver in your series, JoJo. Thank you. JoJo. When you race her, do you see her as a girl or you just see her as another competitor?
It's another competitor. I mean, obviously, talking with her and everything is girl to boy, but she is a fantastic driver. She closed out our season with her first win, so I saw that. So awesome for her to get that because she had been showing so much progress throughout the year, that was super for her. Super. She got Rookie of the Year, I believe, last year as well. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I'm on my race pass with Wisconsin. I'm never going to say it. Yeah. I was like, don't say Wisconsin Wingless. It's not. Wingless. Wingless Sprint Series. So basically dropped to Wisconsin, it looked like it started in 2016. That's the series that you run in. Looked like it was just two series that were competing. They got tired of competing against each other, decided to unite in 2016. It's a very nice, easy for me stat, man. Like this makes me happy. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. It's really nice and easy to read. So here it looks like you're new to the series. Do you know if that was the first female to win in that series?
I do not know. I can't.
No, okay.
Can't say for sure.
Because there's Mike.
We have two drivers. We also have Victoria Wolf, who also in there. So we've actually got two female drivers in our series, which is really encouraging because females in the sport of auto racing in general, I keep seeing that increase. That's really awesome.
Yeah, and no matter which side of the fence you're on, because I try not to bring up politics, but like at the same time, like this is like really the only sport where you could be like males and females can go against each other without it being weird.
Well, without it being muscle, right? But again, I mean, female weightlifters out there can lift just as much as males. So I mean, it's relative. It's again, how much do you want it? I mean, you're going to put in the effort that you want to get out of it.
Exactly. So real quickly, since we're on this, it looks like you guys had since the Wingless Sprint, united. Looks like there's been only a few different champions in 9 years. Yeah, 9 years. Got Rob Lindsay with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 championships. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Yeah. So basically from 2016 to 2022. All right.
He's fantastic. He's run some stuff down in California.
Okay.
He still runs. He's actually getting heavily involved back in the midget series that shut down a number of years ago here in the Northwest, and it's working on regrowth and revitalization with a bunch of various car owners as well as a series. So check into that.
Yeah, it's what kind of are they national midgets or more kind of like D2?
I'll have to look that one up again.
Okay. But yeah, so the last 2 years, the champions have changed. It's Ricky Ashley and TJ Hartman. It did look like in 2020, COVID-19 dominated that year. It was just like every other place in the in the country. But yeah, so that's really cool. And obviously Rob Lindsay's 22 features, which is by far the winningest driver. Man, when I look at this, it's like almost like the Wisconsin Wingless, just in a different geographical area,
Right.
Except for the dominance.
How many cars do you guys have in your field typically?
So I just did it for the predictions, and I think it was an average of like 23 cars a night.
You guys have a good field. When I did our stats, I averaged about 13.7 cars per race. I think our highest was 27. Well, last year at the non-wing nationals, I think it was 27 cars, but this year I think our highest car count was like 24, 20 something.
24, 26. Okay. And then just for us uncultured swine Midwesterners here, you guys are 360 steel block or anything?
We are steel block. Yep.
Steel block. Okay. Nice. So, I mean, so injected and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, you can. I mean, Rob actually, his son ran a race at Sunset Speedway earlier this year with 2-barrel carburetor.
Nice. Okay. That's like our neighbors in Minnesota. They run 2-barrel carburetors up there.
But
it was okay.
Well, so I mean, it was a short, dusty, slick track, so you didn't need a ton of horsepower there. But
instant throttle.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. So check out anyone interested, WSS Wingless Sprint Series on My Race Pass, especially for all our West Coasters out there.
And the Washington Association.
And the Washington what?
Midget Racing Association.
And the Washington Midget Association. We got Scott Sprout here. Hit your goals and melt the butter. You better believe it, Scott. That joke will run on forever. I can feel it. And then the last question real quickly. You're married, right? And how long in name?
13 years. To Crystal
Wow.
Keck.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
It's been
awesome.
great.
Awesome.
He's
one of your biggest supporters?
Yeah, she is the biggest supporter.
Nice. Your wife messaged me on Facebook for the for your non-wing national event. Which thank you so much for allowing me to watch that on your account. But yeah, she's like, is John okay? Because like he said he crashed, but he's not responding, and I'm like, he spun out and hit the big berm and looked like he bent something.
So a word to the wise of anybody starting out and you're married, doesn't matter how long you've been married, do not text your wife right before you have to get in the car for the next heat that you crashed, because she won't know what's going on.
Yes. And our wives will always assume the best. Right? No.
I don't think that's
no.
Yeah. No, I got a reprimand in many forms from many people about that.
Oh man. Yeah, my mom's the same way. Ashley, she doesn't really, I mean, she worries about me, but I don't think she lets it like affect her all that much. But yeah, my mom is like, the first time I flipped, I came because I was still living at home. I walked in the door. I'm like, you see? I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I flipped. And then she's like, oh, I like this. Like, I don't want to text. I don't want to text that you crashed and then I got to find out what happened. I'd rather just see you.
That was one of my goals of this season was don't stuff the car. Don't roll it. Just make all the races, as many laps as you can. So
yeah. My mom just commented, I was going to say, don't do that to your mother. And my wife goes, appreciate the phone calls. Yeah, I always try to, because I'll text and put my phone down and get sidetracked with something else and then won't see it again. So, so you mentioned favorite driver in NASCAR. Who's your favorite driver and who do you think you your driving style replicates?
Oh man, the driver that I follow the most is Rico Aber.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching it, how he handles. I went to Eldora last year when I was in Indiana for the Let's Race 2, and just watching him just rip it. So yeah, he's a wheelman, definitely, for sure. As far as my style goes, I don't think I've really got a style to compare yet. I think I'm still learning some of that. Yeah, I'm not sure how to gauge that one.
All right. And then I almost forgot because I got so many notes really close by. Why did you pick number 38?
That's a great question. My grandpa was a big World War II fan. He was actually really, really interested in aircrafts in World War II.
Okay.
He fought in the Korean War, but World War II was kind of his thing of history. But the P-38J Lightning was...
It's starting to make sense now. Okay.
Yeah, and so, I picked up the car with car number 25. I ran a few races last year with that. Ran kind of a special paint scheme on the last race of the season last year with a pink 38 for some... my mother-in-law had breast cancer, and she was working through that. And a friend of ours also had a form of ovarian cancer, so I was kind of supporting with pink and teal. So I put my 38 on there with pink and teal colors, and then carried that through for this season. But yeah, 38J was kind of a nod to my grandfather, who I know if he was here would have definitely supported my racing. All my grandparents have always been really supportive of my goals that I've worked towards. So
nice. Awesome. That's awesome. See, my dad would never allow me to drive 91 or pick 91. I did it one year out of spite. I'm like, I'm going to be 91. And he was like, if I were to go tomorrow, would you be 91? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I might as well see it. He just told me, he's like, yeah, just be your own man and pick your own number. And he's like, I'm nothing. He's like, I'm not that special or anything. And I'm like, well, all right, but to me, you are. Because I was like 8, 9 years old when I was picking my number for the first time. So I picked 19. My mom's favorite number, and then it was my dad's number inverted, so I thought that was good. But switched it up last year, and now it's my lucky number, 59. So we're going to go into topic 1, presented by Next Gen Pumps, veteran-owned, American-made, warranty like no other. If you need sump pumps, Hoosier Tires in the southeastern Wisconsin, northeastern Illinois, check out Tom Brown in Silver Lakes, Twin Lakes. I'm Bride. So a little bit more about Johnathan Keck's 2024 race season here. He did 9 events, 1 top 5, 4 top 10s. And the question I really want to ask you off the top is, you completed 280 laps of 286. What happened to those 6 laps?
So one of them, I mean, some of the laps are lapped,
Yeah.
But in particular, one of the events was Sunset Speedway, where I kind of got booted out of my heat race after hitting somebody twice. So I kind of lost some of those laps there, most of those laps there.
Okay. At least you did it a cool way.
But, it depends. I mean, you don't want to piss off your competitors.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great thing about sprint car racing. It's not like football where you're like, we might play them later this year. It's like, no, we'll see them next week or tomorrow. Depending if it's a 2-day show. Yep. All right. And then, so a top 5, that's awesome. Especially for your first, we'll say your first full rookie year, your first full year. Yeah. That's always good. Did you have a favorite moment this season?
I would probably have to say Douglas County, our non-wing nationals, our 2-day event. that was Friday night is when in our heat race, we ended up hitting that infield tire, which I would ask every track in America to put up a dirt berm instead of tires because tires suck. I know Tanner Holmes has kind of chimed in on that about whether or not to have tires on the infield corner.
I mean, that's the thing though. Is like, all right. So when my brother and I started racing, we were bottom feeders, and when I say bottom feeders, I mean the right rear was the only thing technically on the track surface.
Nice.
So we kind of needed tires. So I'm like, I get that. But then like up by us, you go to 141, which is like the Green Bay area for our out of staters. So it's kind of really far up north. They have like assault infield track tires because they're a fender track, so they have a lot of stock cars and stuff like that. Right. So, but then when they have the sprint cars there 4 or 5 times a year, we're like looking at those and we're like, yeah, that'll kill the chassis if we hit it right. So, yeah, I don't know. Comment, guys. Would you rather have a berm or infield tires? We'll see. Some comments there. But all right, yeah. So Wingless Nationals, you hit the berm tires.
Hit the berm tires, and being my first season, I'm kind of figuring things out, and so bringing the car into the pits and getting out, looking at it, I'm like, some of these parts I don't right now, so I'm like thinking that my night's finished, but a lot of other competitors offered up to help out however they needed, and I think that makes a great series is when competitors are helping each other, like we're track, but when we're off track, they're willing to lend a hand, loan parts, sell part, whatever it is, like it's, I mentioned it earlier in the year. It's a racing family, we're competitors on track, but it doesn't do any series any good to have 3 less cars on track because people can't get the parts, or whatever.
Yeah.
It was really nice that everybody helped out. So,
yeah. I always say the racing family is the best family. Obviously outside my family. Don't need my mom to chime in. And I love you, Mom. But you kind of mentioned it real quickly too. Like, so I wanted to ask this before we get too far away. What's one thing you wish you knew before getting into sprint car racing? Whether that's good or bad.
Yeah. Trying to think. I mean, I knew how expensive it was, so that wasn't a surprise. One thing I wish I knew is that I need to have a winch on the front of my trailer to pull my car up, so I'm not trying to push it on the trailer, alone.
But that's how you get all the friends.
like
you need help, yeah.
1,400 pounds. I'm like, should be a piece of cake. It's half of a Honda Civic or something. So, yeah, no, it would be still helpful. So I got to put a winch on my trailer this winter.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. So just how they're still the lightest race car out there, high horsepower, we'll say. Yeah. But yeah, they're still heavy enough that you just can't push it by yourself.
Yeah.
On the trailer.
I mean, I've gotten it on the trailer, but it's just it was excruciating. So, yeah. and that's kind of like a lot of people don't know this yet, but I'm rolling an open trailer. My parents they weren't really into racing, or at least not involved in racing. My wife's family, she's very much football, not racing. And a lot of my friends at my age they've got kids and they've got responsibilities that are not helping their friend. Right? It's taking care of their kid. So, and that's totally fine. I got nothing on that, nothing against it. But again, like this is one of those things where it's like this is my hobby, and I've got to figure out and engineer solutions to make it work for me so that I can keep doing it myself. So it's been a challenge, but not impossible.
Yeah, and again, back what you said at the very beginning. How much do you want it? You got to drive. Yep. All right. Did you have any low light of the season that you're just like, oh,
I think that would be the Banks race when I hit the other competitor twice in the same heat race, like 3 laps apart. And it wasn't, by no means was it intentional. And I know every driver says that, but like literally, like in turns 1 and 2, it seemed like everybody accordioned up, and I tapped her and then gassed it to get past her. And then we went back green, and I drove it too hot going into 3, tagged her again. And yeah, that was it. And I felt so bad after that. Like, I felt so stupid, right? It's one thing like if you hit both drivers, but if you're hitting the same driver, it kind of feels like it's
intentional.
Yeah. And it's just bad being in the wrong spot at the wrong time. But I felt really bad after that. So
yeah, that is one thing that I will say. What's one thing you wish you knew before getting in? The closing rate on a sprint car is like, say you're driving in the snow and you're like, oh, I got full control. And then something happens and you hit the brake and you kind of like slide and it almost feels like it speeds up. I feel that that's the closing rate of a sprint car.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like you throw it in there and you're just like, I'm at the mercy, don't hit me.
That's a good. The fortunate thing is I spent a lot of time in my teens and 20s taking my car around snowy parking lots.
Okay.
The only reason I thought I could do this.
And it's easier because now you only have to turn right to go left. You don't have to turn right.
I was like, if I can take like an 85 Nissan pickup on snow around parking lot curbs, I'm like, I should be able to do a dirt track.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then you realize the geometry of the bird cages and blocking and all that. You're like, whoa, there's a lot more into it than just kind of like your four banger kind of.
My very first race, I was real snappy on the throttle because I was a little unfamiliar with it, right? And I'm lifting tires up and then I'm off, and but didn't do too bad. I kept it in one piece at the first race. I made all the laps that I needed to.
Nice. There you go. We got Autumn here. Tires are better for entertainment. Okay, that's true. 20 seconds. What's your over under? I don't know.
What is she doing?
Yeah, Autumn, can you clarify real quick? It's been a hot minute. It's been 4 minutes, actually. Ashley, don't you have a winch story? I think I do. I just know it doesn't work. And then, like, I just love my team, the people that come, Autumn, Maddie, Hunter, my dad, Elliot, just everyone that shows up to the track to watch me jump the cushion a few times in a race. But like my dad's like, let's get the winch out. And I'm like, we got like 6 people. Like I can even get in the car and push me in and we're good. We'll be in like 5 seconds. I don't want to wait here for a winch, but I know one time it snapped and hit my brother. I think that was funny.
I fortunately got a new quad over the off season last year that has a front, so that's been helping pull the car on, even if I got to do it myself. So that's been a little bit more help.
Yep, and the trick to that: same size rear tires, car goes straight. So there you go. Autumn says grub getters. So all right, Johnathan. So you guys had those really cool vintage looking cars for the Wingless Nationals or whatever. Yeah, they're like
little Legends cars. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like the big they're full size Legend cars. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like I even took a picture of that while I was watching. I sent it to my dad. I'm like, that looks fun.
They are fast. Like they carry a lot of speed. A lot of the tracks in the Northwest actually like tailor their tracks to that series because if they put too much moisture in the track, they end up not being able to turn because it hooks up so well.
Yeah, they go straight. Yeah,
end up being so dusty and dry. But
Nice. Yeah. Okay, so Grub Getters Autumn here is basically the best race I've ever watched in my life, especially because those after our features. So we were drinking. We went over to the main stands. Basically, it's you got to take a production car. You got to put some sort of cage, whether that's just like the driver bar here on the door side and like a little hoop, and you gut it, take the glass out, and then you go race it. That's it. No yellow flags, so that was cool. And it's literally a demolition derby race.
Oh no!
I lost my voice screaming. That was so much fun. That is for sure underrated, like 100%. But I don't know if you guys have any of those races out there.
Not like that. I mean, I went to an asphalt race out in Idaho. That was they had a like a little chicane shortcut through the infield.
Okay.
And the leader of that lap could not be the leader. Was not allowed to be the leader when they come back around. So they can only lead one lap at a time.
Oh, that had to make the last lap awesome.
And you can take if you're the last car. If you're the last car, you're the only one allowed to take that shortcut. I think it was. It was really one of the craziest races I've seen.
Okay.
And a mom in a minivan won the race, I think.
Oh, let's go. For all the moms out there.
Respect. Right?
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the grub getter was like if there was a fire or like a big pileup, they'd stop everybody. But then all the cars that had drivers in them got out, and then they walked off. Well, some guys just started jumping in the passenger seats and were like navigators and help and spotters. I was like, man, this was at Circle City in Indianapolis. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is awesome. We need more of these races. It's just I heard it was $10,000 to win.
Jeez. It was just like the old days when you had an onboard mechanic at Indianapolis.
Yes. Oh, speaking of like the old days here, man, how many race car drivers do you think would actually still be driving the way they drive if today's race cars went back to like the 50s, safety wise?
Oh, how many do you think would be alive, or how many do you think would take?
Current drivers would still do it. Like if tomorrow everything safety went back to the 50s.
And I'm going to have to go with an 80-20 rule. You know,
80 go stay.
I think would do it because it's nostalgic and they want to experience, but I think 20% would say that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think I would be one of the 80%, but I think I'd only make like a couple laps and I'd be like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, done that. Live to tell about it.
Heck.
Oh man!
Hopefully nothing happens in the first lap.
Yeah, because like one of the things that I'd love to do is give the beans to like one of the first few Indy cars, like at the Indy 500, like just wholesale into the corner and be like, I hope it sticks on these bicycle tires.
Yeah, I mean, you watch those races and you wonder the forces on a rickety old brick racetrack rattling those things to bits, and they've got these tires that are about 4 or 5 inches wide, maybe 6.
Yeah, graciously 6. Yeah. But man, and then another question I had written down before we move on. Do you remember your first laps in a sprint car?
I do. Yeah, that was like I was saying, those first qualifying laps and even the hot laps before that. I was snappy on the throttle, but we did the mud pack, and we're going around the track, and I'm strapped in. Are you talking about any race car or the sprint car?
Both. Let's do both. Yeah.
I'll finish the sprint car story.
Mm-hmm.
And putting around under mud pack, like you feel it, it's cool, but it's when you really get on the throttle, like your first actual accelerated laps for hot laps.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was trying to understand what to do with the throttle and brake to try to set the car in the corner. And it wasn't even until midway through the heat race that I actually had a light bulb moment of like, oh, on this track, this works best, at least now. Because even then, I went to the next track, which was a 3/8, and I tried the same technique, and I was like, oh, that doesn't work.
No. You have that moment of crap in your pants where like, oh, wait, this really didn't work.
Yeah. Can't do that. But my first time in a race car was actually at Daytona in a skid barber car. These are just tube frame chassis. They're like Formula Fords or Formula Vs.
Mm-hmm.
And they were a Dodge Neon motor, which was only 120 horsepower. But my first time in a race car, period, plain and simple. And we come out of turn 2. And I'm sitting there all cinched down in the car. Mm-hmm. And the back is so long that I started getting claustrophobic. And I'm not a claustrophobic person, but I started wiggling. I'm like, oh, this is uncomfortable. But you start making some laps, and you get in your head, and you're just so focused.
Yeah,
that it all goes away. It might not be that way for all people, but for me,
it's like going to the bathroom.
Yep,
it's like you gotta go to the bathroom, and as soon as you strap in and you go and you crack the throttle the first time, you're like, there's nothing else that is on your mind besides just driving it as fast as you can.
Yeah, there's a couple events this year that I had a headache, and even sitting there waiting to get pushed off, and I'm like, ah. But then you get on track, and it kind of just fades away.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then because you've driven so many cars, what is your favorite car to drive?
What do you mean I've driven so many cars? How many cars have I driven?
A few. Whether it was a skip barber car, the sprint car, or what favorite track, whether it's pavement or dirt.
And I think I really, really enjoyed running the skid barber cars around Sebring International Raceway.
Okay.
That track is incredible, and I don't think people give enough credit to that track. I mean, if you're a dirt only person and you haven't explored sports car racing, it's pretty incredible on some of these things with the endurance racing.
Yeah.
This Sebring is a World War II track. The front stretch is 6 foot thick concrete for the bombers to land on back in the day. And you're coming around turn 17, and it's tight, and you're carrying so much speed that like the amount of steering correction around that corner, as well as blind corner 1, and it's all concrete and it's jittery, and I mean you can lose it at any minute. It's pretty incredible.
And it's not an even radius corner. It kind of like so. Yeah, I learned that on Forza.
When I did my races there, I actually had a different corner entry than everybody, but it worked, right? So that just shows that like even what the preferred line is might not works for everybody, because like everybody would turn in tight, let it drift out, and arc the corner. I was going way driver's left, letting it naturally slow down a little bit, and then I'd cut real sharp, and then I was able to get a run on the inside. So
nice.
Yeah,
it set you up for the front shoot.
And it's funny because I mentioned that, and yesterday I got my VR headset set up on iRacing. So I grabbed a Cadillac. I grabbed a Cadillac CSV, and I was iRacing on. I'm trying to get my settings set before I hop on the dirt with a sprint car. So.
Yeah. What's the stupidest car to track that you've ever done on iRacing?
Stupidest?
Yeah, for like just
I hate
fun.
I hate the Pontiac Solstice with a passion.
Okay,
I think
that's the end of that one.
I don't know why that car is on iRacing, other than it was part of their Grand Touring Series, which I was 2011 champion for. I'll drop that.
Yeah. Oh man,
I was driving a Miata. So
Miatas are fun too. Yeah, I had a Miata for 26 days.
What happened?
A drunk driver hit and totaled it, and I wasn't in it. I was when I was living in Chicago and it was parked on the street. And I was mad. I was so mad. Car was good. Turned into a race car though.
Yeah, I should have mentioned the Toyota MR2. I had a first gen Toyota MR2, mid-engine, 2-seater, rear wheel drive. That car, that's a great car. You don't see a lot of them.
No. How does it handle compared to? Is it more like a Miata where it's really twitchy and dirty?
It is twitchy because you got a lot of mass in the back.
Okay.
And so it'll get tail happy, and a lot of people will overdrive the car. But when you start working on it, it's built like a race car. Like a lot of the engineering that was by Lotus engineers.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Lotus, another. Oh. I know we're at 8:00 already, and I'm like, oh, it's Lotus in Formula One, and you're a road course guy, so you get me. No, you're good. You're good. All right, so we'll finish up tonight's show with topic 2, presented by Pullman Auto. If you're looking for a new car or new to you car, check out Pullman Auto with 3 locations in Kenosha and 1 location in Racine. What is sprint car racing doing right? And I caught my pen that I drop every show at least once. Haha. So what is sprint car racing doing right? So did you have any thoughts on that, Johnathan?
I think they're marketing really well. You know, with the introduction of the High Limit series, you know, I kind of hate that you have High Limit and the World of Outlaws, but at the same time, it's always been said to me that rising tide raises all ships. So, I mean, if you've got these 2 series that are competing against each other, I still think it's a positive thing. So, like, I see a lot of good stuff coming from like the USAC for the Wingless series and Midget series. I see stuff coming out of High Limit. I see a lot of stuff coming out of World of Outlaws. I think it's just good for the sport, for dirt racing in general. Yep. Yeah.
When I first heard the thing about like, oh, High Limit's going to run, it's bad for World of Outlaws. I'm like, I don't think it's bad at all. Because if you're implying that it's bad, then what you're really saying is that there are only 11 sprint car teams in the country that can be top level.
Yeah.
Right? Because then it'd be like, oh, well, 5 guys are going to move, and now you only have 5 full scheduled teams. But I mean, I'm a high limiter right now because, like, you know, I would love for Kyle Larson to come to our home track, you know, Wilmot, but because the whole thing with the World of Outlaws and the High Limit where they can't run at the same track because of World of Outlaws, which is fine. So Wilmot's a World of Outlaws track, but High Limit's going to be in more central Wisconsin this year, so that's going to be exciting because I'm going to try to go to those. But yeah, I think the High Limit, like you said, rising tide raises all ships. It's only bad for a series that don't want to compete and make their product better. You brought up USAC, which was funny. Timing, is everything. Because, like, don't you remember World of Outlaws brought out a competing series for USAC?
Yeah.
Like a year before High Limit did and that was fine. Right. Yeah. But now that timing's everything is everything. But we don't even hear about I don't even think they're running the World of Outlaws. They're running a non-wing 410 series anymore. Yeah. I think it was only a couple of races.
Yeah, I mean, World of Outlaws hasn't come out to Oregon in a long time. I mean, the 410s for the High Limit was the first time in, I think, 10 years that they've been in the state of Oregon, let alone Washington. So, I
mean, I heard High Limit runs the West Coast. That I saw it on Facebook, so it's true, right? Sorry, say that again.
Facebook's the truth feed, right? Just he says that
you can take it to the bank. Yep, you're guaranteed 3 things in life: death, taxes, and Facebook's is true.
But I'd like to see USAC come up to the Northwest, and some of the track promoters cater the tracks a little differently for various racing. You know. Yeah, like I said, they make some dry tracks out here for the midgets or the Legends cars. But I mean, like prep the track different ways each time, and just let the drivers do what they need to do.
Yeah, what's your favorite track condition in your young sprint car career?
You know, I'm finding the drier tracks kind of suit me a little better.
Okay.
And I say that on the basis of I feel like I can find the wet patch of a dry track pretty well. And you know, like my time at the Douglas County non-wing nationals, the Banks races, I had a good run at the second race of the season. The whole second half of the season, I feel like I learned a lot from the first half, and it allowed me to kind of build on that. Plus, you know, a little help on setup too. Nice.
Yeah, I was trying to get the USAC schedule up here, and they changed their website, and I'm like, oh no, that's not what I'm looking for. Let's see. So yeah, obviously USAC starts in Florida. I always find it funny when series call a championship national, or Formula One says that they're a world championship, but they don't go to the continent of Africa. Like, is it really? like baseball, world champions. You're only in North America. Calm down. So now I'm curious to see if USAC, because I know like they usually have like their West Coast swing at the end of the year to like end the season. They didn't do it this year.
Just saw them post like their final number of races that they ran, the Wingless and the midgets and the silver ground. So
yeah, well, so on the because I think that was USAC CRA, because the last USAC race was Red Dirt Raceway, October 26th in Oklahoma.
Did they just run Ventura though?
Yeah, USAC CRA. So yeah, that's like a little branch off of USAC. So that's why I was like, because usually they have like the Western Worlds, like in November. But then I was like, it's not on USAC's schedule, and then I was like, oh, it's USAC CRA. So I'm like, is USAC slowing down their West Coast for? Which again, how can you be a national tour if you don't go to at least the coast and the center? Like, I get not every state because that. I mean, that'd be good for racing for the drivers. Oh man, yeah. So the other last couple things I have is sprint car racing and dirt track racing, just in general. It's cheaper to attend. You get to see local heroes. Like, you can be more relatable, I think, to your sprint car drivers, your modified drivers, than to, let's say, Will Power or Dale Jr. or stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's great to see those guys, but it's kind of hard to relate. You know, you're going to go up to them and be like, man, I just worked 40 hours at my job working in a machine. And they'll be like, nice.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I got people to do that for me. Or yeah, I make $35,000-$40,000 a year, but I'm still out there racing every weekend. And they're like, what's that? I got 3 houses.
Dale Jr. was just a podcast about showing up to a track without announcing it, and just and not making any sort of announcement. Just show up some Friday or Saturday night. And he's like, he likes that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's just like his iRacing. Like, he's at every track somewhere, right? So yeah, I mean, I love Dale Jr. I mean, I've heard that, because I got diecast cars here too, just like he has for his show. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I've been mistaken as Dale Jr. a few times at the track.
For real?
Yeah.
Got the glasses. And everything.
Yeah, I got the glasses, I got the everything. If I don't wear the hat and it's long enough with my beard, yeah, I could see it. Like, my brother's crew chief, we were pitted next to each other. My brother and I were racing against each other, but his crew chief sent a picture of my brother to his mom, and his mom was like, I didn't know Dale Jr. raced sprint cars. And he's like looking through. He's like, "Oh, Derek, yeah, he does kind of look like that." So yeah, we're the Temu version of the Dale Jr. download, and our race day vlogs are the Temu version of Team As Racing. So yes, I can't beat him. Join him. But oh my goodness, man, was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Because man, that hour flew by. We're over. I was like, yeah, we'll go over just because of the first 10 minutes with the mic issues. give
No
the people
worries.
what they want. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up, talk about?
I can't think of anything off the
No.
top of my
Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
I mean, this season's kind of been. I definitely, everybody recommended and just said, hey man, just get seat time.
Yeah.
And so like, sure, I only finished 280 of 287 or whatever laps, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like I missed a whole lot out of those 7. You
Mhm.
want to get the time you can, but I was I was able to be one of 4 drivers to make every single race. And so I think
Nice.
just being present at the racetrack and getting the seat time that I can, especially as a new driver, really, really contributed to the second half of the season when we started hitting some of the tracks a second time, and I was able to build on what I learned from earlier in the spring.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, like that's like the very fine double-edged sword there when you run the same track all year. It's good to a point, but
Yep.
then racing a different track every time you're in the car, but it kind of helps, but it doesn't. It's like that really fine line. And I was just looking at the schedule there. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks, but then it looks like the home one is what, Willamette? Is that Willamette Speedway? Yeah.
yeah,
So you're like, that's your.
it's the 3/8 mile track. It's about an hour and a
Okay.
half.
Gotcha.
Douglas County is about 3 hours, and Sunset Speedway is about 45 minutes. If they had, if Sunset Speedway had a track sprint series, I would go to that and run that.
Okay. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
talking
So like,
about doing a St. Helens Speedway, which isn't too
Okay.
far either. So
okay. But yeah, you got Wilmot 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, yeah. So like I feel like your guys' schedule is really healthy for a rookie driver, so that they don't get, when you run the same track every week, that track has a tendency of like, this is how you drive it. This is how you set the car up. And this is where the racing line typically goes. Like typically Wilmot 1 and 2 is always on the top. 3 and 4 is on the top. But then if the cushion in 1 and 2 1 and 2 is wider than 3 and 4. So it gets to a point where the bottom turns fast. So you kind of have to be like ready to go for that lane change. But then you go to Angel Park, that's totally different, So that's like a really good, healthy way of like, you get your certain home track, but you have some tracks that you travel to, so you're not kind of getting stuck in a rut.
yeah, we're a traveling series. There's no regular series around us like Wilmot has.
Yeah. What would be your perfect schedule number? How many shows?
Speaking, like thinking about the whole series as a group rather than just myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think 12 races would be a decent number. Nine was good, I think, for my chapter in life right now and just getting started and stuff. But I think a healthy number would be about a dozen races for us in the Northwest. It would be really great if we could have a couple more tracks nearby. We've got some people that travel from like northern Washington all the way down to Roseburg. We didn't go to Grays Harbor this year, which I think was really kind of a bummer. I think that's been a good track. Spectated that in the past. I haven't actually run it yet though, but
Okay.
it'd be cool to have a couple more tracks in our series and then lengthen out the schedule a little longer.
Okay. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, 9's healthy. Like we ran Circle City and that was 6 races, but that was from May to October. So it's basically once a month. So that was nice as driving 4.5 hours to that track. Like that was really nice.
Ashley says even lovelier.
9 sounds even lovelier. 12 sounds lovely. Oh my goodness. 9 sounds even lovelier. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, we're supposed to be slowing down because Baby Crane's coming. So excited. But yeah, some stuff was like I can't wait to announce. So that should be announcing shortly. Yeah, we were talking earlier about before we were live. About your schedule's not out yet, but when do you think that'll be out?
Yeah, usually towards the end of the year that it usually kind of comes together. So
Okay,
yep.
Nice. And then social media pages too, real quickly for you and the series for those releases.
So be sure to check out Wingless Sprint Series, just like it's spelled and said right here on the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You can also check out Hertz Precision Parts, Modern Machinery, in Speed Mart. They'll probably have some information as well for our series. There's some of our series sponsors from this year as well as last year. And Johnathan Keck Motorsports. We're trying to kind of keep the website rolling. It's the off season now, so not quite so much is coming through. I kind of manage that as well as drive, as well as wrench, as well as transport. So I'm kind of doing it all as best as I can.
Yes.
I think I was talking to you before about rolling into it like a USAC race on an open bed trailer and sleeping on the back of my truck for a 2-nighter.
Yes. You'd be to the talk of the pits for sure. If that doesn't get you an interview, I don't know what will.
Well, I got another engine I'm building right here next to me. If at some point I get a 410 built, then maybe I'll look at driving down to California.
Yeah, let's go. Man. Yeah, like our Baby Crane on the way, I was like, man, maybe 25 will be the year that I can get out to like the West Coast for like a 2-day race or something and bring Ashley and like run the weekend and then like that following week drive back to Wisconsin slowly, like stop off here and there and stuff. But
yeah,
maybe not 25. I don't think 25, but maybe 26, maybe 27. I don't know. Baby Crane. Yes. So excited. Oh man. February it can, but it can't come fast enough at the same time. Oh man. Awesome. All right. Well guys, man, this has been an amazing show. And this is this is the most awkward part. Cause like, I could talk to racing guys forever, for hours and hours and hours. But we all have work in the morning, and it's 8:18 right now. So, but we'll start shutting the show down here. Johnathan, who would you like to thank?
Definitely want to give a shout out to Expressive Productions. A buddy of mine runs that. He does all sorts of weddings and events. He does even commercials. So if you're looking for any videography, any photography, reach out to Expressive Productions. R&R Equestrian Center up in Woodland, Washington, horse boarding facility. So if you're passing through, you need somewhere to board your horse, they do hotel boarding. So if it's just one night or if it's long-term, they can meet your needs. Lewitt Brewery, great beer downtown Vancouver. Be sure to check them out if you're passing through. And Hard Notch Customs, powder coating. If you need anything powder coating, Hard Notch Customs. These are all people that don't directly sponsor me right now, but they support me in various ways and help keep the race team going. So be sure to check them out.
Yes. Shameless plug also too, like not just for me, but just any kind of racing team driver that you follow. If you scrolling on Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, something pops up. It's free. It helps. Like just like it. It always helps more than you know. And it also gives us energy to keep doing stuff too. Autumn here says 12 a month, Ash. I could get down with that. She's referring to 12 races a month, and I'm all about that. But Ashley is not apparently. Dang. All right, so I'll compromise 11. On our side, I'd like to thank Kenosha Plumbing, Next Gen Pumps, Pullman Auto, RevTech Manufacturing, Rouge Helmets, Ashley Brief Photography, Painters Plus, Bay Nelson, Jack's Helmet Design, Pinnacle Media Productions, Daybreak Church, whoop whoop, Mirror Image Coatings, Toro Tents, Hold My Beer, Bricks and Minifigs of Kenosha. Shout out. Hey, I know it's Cyber Monday. It's a little late, but hey, if you want to shop for your grandkids, kids, nephews, nieces, check out Bricks and Minifigs with Legos, because, I mean, that's kind of where this whole thing started, was building Legos and turning them into race cars, and now I build race cars. So, yep, check out Bricks and Minifigs of Kenosha, Outrageous Apparel, Wise Guys Barbershop, David Crane, Kathy Crane, Jeremy Crane, Kylie Crane, K9sforyou.org. Thank my beautiful wife, Ashley, mom and dad, Big One fan, Kyle, Nathan, Caleb, Lauren, Cooper, my nephew, Ladders, Dave's not here, Elliot, Hunter, Autumn, just, everybody, all the listeners. Thank you, everyone that's tuning into Spotify. I'm going to edit that first part out because that's not good content for Spotify in the morning. But yeah, just so many people. And it's weird because we only have one more show with that long list. So if you like to get on board with Crane Racing, message us. We'd love to partner with you. And then also, if you're on the West Coast and you're looking for a car to check out or to sponsor, check out Johnathan Keck Motorsports. The next show, the last show of season 2, we have in staging Trace Mailer, Steel Block champion by 4 points at Circle City over us. I don't even know what I'm going to write down for that show. That's going to be December 16th, the Christmas special. So I know I will be dressed in red and green, that's for sure, because let's go Christmas. But yeah, Trace Mailer. And he also won a Wings championship, so we'll be talking to him. That's going to be very exciting. And yeah, constructive criticism, guys. Let me know what you thought about the live feed. Scratch the first 10 minutes because that was a very easy fix on my side with OBS. But yeah, let me know if you like this out of studio stuff, because this is great. I love it. Broadens our horizon for guests and stuff like that, which we can do even more outside of sprint car racing. I know we are a sprint car bandit, which is a 4-cylinder class podcast, but always love to go outside of wingless sprint cars, wing sprint cars, bandits, and stuff like that. So that'll be fun. Oh man, but wow, an hour and a half, boom, just like that. I know one thing I will have to change is the monitor needs to be in front of the camera, so it looks like I can be looking at the camera, but looking at you, because I'm like, if I look at the camera, like I don't feel like I'm talking to you, but then I look there and I'm like, oh, it looks like I'm just not paying attention. So I'll switch that. And yeah, but yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Johnathan Keck, for spending your evening with us. And yeah, so thank you guys, and we'll see you in 2 weeks with Trace Mailer. Peace out, Girl Scout.
Don't forget to check out the Washington Midget Racing Association. It's one of the oldest chapters in the country, 1930s.
1930s. Okay, so up here though, a little extra bonus content. Angel Park has got that beat, but
all right,
always cool. It's always cool. Yeah, 1930s. I got my book here. I should have had this ready to go, but yeah, it was a horse track, then turned into the midgets, and it's been a midget track ever since like the 1927 was their first midget race, but 1938 was their first like season of like doing it every year. It might be 1939, I don't know, but I'm sure I'll have someone message me later with that information. So yeah, but yeah, check out Washington Vintage Midget Association.
Vintage, just midgets. Yeah.
Midgets. There you go. Washington Midget Association. There you go. Sorry.
Wingless Sprint Series. That's our 2 series up here.
Boom. There you go. I love it. Cut, dry, simple, straight to the point. So awesome, guys. Thank you so much. See you in 2 weeks. Peace out, Girl Scout.